Hello, my fellow concerned friends, and welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for showing up and watching and supporting me every single time I post. It genuinely means the world to me. And if you're new here, hello, welcome to my channel. Thank you so much for clicking on my video. Out of all of these other videos you could have clicked on, you chose mine, and I really appreciate that. I hope that you stick around and you get something beneficial from my content today, and I think you will. I think all of us will. Because if you're not new to my channel, then you know that all of my content is very heavy, and oftentimes we end the video not very hopeful. A little bit hopeful, but a lot of times the tone in my videos are more so, this sucks because it's technically legal, so if we want to do anything about it, we have to band together and all be angry at the same time and demand change. But guys, today's video is a little bit different. I hope that you can walk away from today's video feeling a new sense of confidence in yourself and a little less hopeless and helpless in our society today. I was recently tagged in this video that had me really scared at the beginning. I cannot lie. I was really nervous at the beginning. Like, where is this going? You're stressing me out. But once I finished it, it had me sitting here thinking to myself, why is this not something every single law enforcement agency is doing? You know, because law enforcement's whole job is to protect and serve its community, and especially those most vulnerable in the community. And who do we know are the most vulnerable and marginalized group of people in the world? Children.
There's a subreddit called r/trace-an-object where law enforcement agencies from all over the world release specific parts of a picture or a video where a child is being and they basically put them up in hopes that somebody recognizes a room or recognizes maybe like a logo on a shirt within a specific region or wallpaper. The more people that are on the subreddit, the more eyes that are on it, and the more likely these people are able to be found. I highly recommend you join the subreddit. Maybe you'll see something and you can help a kid get away from a terrible situation.
Like I said, it had me nervous there in the beginning a little bit because I was like, where is this going? What is law enforcement doing now that is putting children in further danger? Like, please give me a break. But I decided after I watched this video to go hop over on Reddit myself and go through Trace an Object and just kind of see what's going on there. And I am definitely going to take you guys through that subreddit in a second. But I will say this, when I hopped on there and I was looking through the things and reading the things, I thought to myself, like, I'm a little confused. Is this actual law enforcement posting to this Reddit themselves and then asking the general public, hey, do you recognize the setting? Is this like a recognizable hotel room, a toy, etc.? Again, we'll get into this. Like, or is it just like random people like finding things online and then just like posting it, being like, hello, other random people, can you help me identify this so I can then pass this on to law enforcement? No. It is not random people. Trace an Object is owned by Europol, and Europol is European Union Agency for Law Enforcement Cooperation. So it's the law enforcement agency of the European Union. So the actual law enforcement agency themselves is the one who created and runs Trace an Object. Like the agency, the law enforcement agency themselves said, you know what? Children being harmed and nothing being done about it is a big enough problem that we're going to get the public involved. We're going to get the public excited to hopefully help rescue a child out of a horrible situation and get the proper people put behind bars, or maybe worse, who knows? And when I realized that, it really made me have to further side-eye our own justice system and law enforcement here in the United States of America. How many of you also see like the end of month reports from your local law enforcement? And it'll be like on their Facebook or any other social media where they're like, this is how many speeding tickets we gave out. This is how many people we caught shoplifting. This is how many blah, blah, blah. And it's all like, yes, like illegal stuff. But you know what? I never, ever see them getting really excited to tell the public that they saved them from the horrible thing. It's never having anything to do with children. Never. I mean, I could be alone there, But I have lived in 4 different states and therefore been involved with watching the social media of multiple different law enforcement agencies. And I have never, ever, ever seen any of them make any post at all regarding being proud of rescuing children or asking the public for help in keeping children safe. But I can tell you, I have seen a million posts where they have taken like a screenshot from surveillance footage, zoomed in on someone's face because they really need the public's help in finding that person because that person stole some bread or hygiene products. Or you know what? I'll even say it, a TV. But you know what we're not going to do? Is be proud of the amount of children that we have possibly saved. And what we're definitely not going to do is ask the public for help in solving these cases. It's not like you guys are already burdened enough, which is why a lot of us get put on the back burner. But you know, hey, you definitely don't need any help.
We are all part of a community, as are children facing it. Trace an object is how you can help them. Victim identification is a task for specialists, but we don't know everything. That's why we need your input to identify specific objects and locations so victims who have suffered or exploitation can be made safe. The tips you send are really useful. We see the work you've done and how you've used your personal knowledge and skills. We receive a great many tips, too many to give individual feedback, but we appreciate every single one. Our victim identification specialists take your tips and work to verify and develop them further. Sometimes an object is too widely distributed to be of use. We feed this back to colleagues so they can concentrate on other leads instead. Sometimes the tips lead us in a definite direction. We review the information and feed it to the community of investigators. If the information can be used, it is sent for further investigation to the relevant country. This process involves investigation with oversight from supervisors, prosecutors and judges, so all the proper steps are taken to protect the child in the image. We know you're curious about our process. You've asked us why we leave images up when good leads are available. We post the objects on the website in batches and take down batches to ensure the child has the best chance of being identified. These investigations take time, but with your help, it's much faster. You are making it possible for a child who may have lost hope to know that someone cared enough to take the time to rescue them. That's your contribution. Thank you.
This is genuinely amazing. And it works. We're going to go through this obviously later in the video, but it has actually really helped get these victims justice. It has actually really helped in identifying certain locations where these images or videos have been filmed and then uploaded. It has genuinely helped. And it just leaves me sitting here wondering, what if all law enforcement agencies did this? What if they did focus on getting the public involved and helping protect a vulnerable, innocent child rather than getting the public involved in trying to target and locate a grown adult who just simply couldn't feed themselves or even feed their children? Let's put those people in jail. Let's get the public excited on finding them, right? Because it's like drama, and then they can feel better about themselves because it's like, I would never steal a loaf of bread. Yeah, lock them up. Like, it is so twisted. It is whenever you really think about it. Whenever you really think about it, what law enforcement, at least here in the United States of America, what law enforcement focuses on as like being the worst of the worst and we should be like the most mad about is never like anything compared to what like we really actually should be the most concerned about. And that is protecting children. Like, it is genuinely very rare that I ever see like from law enforcement agencies themselves here in the United States. It is so rare that I see any of them be like, we just saved even one child this month. And hey, we got a really bad guy put away. You guys can be rest assured. I don't see that. Why? Genuinely, why? I mean, I can only assume at this point. But then they don't like it when I assume things. So now I'm going to take you through a couple posts from Trace and Object themselves, just so you guys can really see like what people are working with, how people are able to use such little information to be able to crack a case or at least lead Europol or other agencies to a more specific location to be able to investigate, or even straight to a specific person based off of images, or not images, but things in the background of a photo or things on a shirt or even tattoo. I do just want to remind you though, The images that are being posted to trace an object are in fact screenshots or the pictures themselves from real CSAM. And like it said in the video where it was describing what's going on, is obviously it's not the public's job to identify a victim. So they do have the victims, completely blurred. They're all white. You can't tell anything about them, boy or girl, how tall, hair color. You can't see anything because their focus is on what is in the background or what is identifiable on the adult. However, I just wanted to really emphasize that because it is still very disturbing. If you do go on Trace an Object because you want to help and you want to see if you can help, just know that you will see sometimes even silhouettes of victims. And it's just really hard to see this and to know that although you can't see them, they are there. And that this really did happen. And that your whole purpose of being there is to do your best to look in the background and try to get someone closer to finding this child and saving this child. But it is still so devastating and heartbreaking. The amount of material in this Reddit thread. And that's not even touching the surface on the amount of this material that is out there and being distributed and still created right now, which is why things like this are so important and why I think all law enforcement agencies should absolutely be getting the public excited to be involved in helping protect children. So here are some examples of some of the posts that you will see in this Reddit thread. And whenever you see these things, you may be asking yourself, how is anybody going to be able to identify anything with the amount of information that's in this picture? But just stick around. Like I said, this actually has helped. This actually has worked. So for instance, here is one where it says, do you recognize this wall and room? And it's just a picture of a corner of a room with what looks like a light blue, brick painted on the wall. It's brick painting. And then it has these yellow curtains, a velvety yellow curtains and a black and gray kind of square gridded carpet. And same thing with the other picture. You have the same carpet. You have the same curtains. It looks like a red, seal on the window. I'm not sure. And just a blue green wall. And people are able to take these images and they talk about this in the Reddit thread. So if you're curious, you can go through and read about it yourself, but through various different programs and resources, they're able to basically do very complex reverse image searches or even just based off of their own knowledge. There have been people who are oh, I stayed at this hotel. I know this hotel. I stayed there. And that's how they're able to identify these locations or even specific items. And a lot of times it's it gets as serious as okay, well, where was this item purchased from? Because all of that matters. Any little breadcrumb that gets them closer matters, which is why things like this matter so much. Because oftentimes the reason a lot of cases go kind of stagnant is because there's not evidence. There's really not a trail to follow. And I think that doing things like this would really help bridge a lot of those gaps because, law enforcement can't do everything themselves. There is literally not enough law enforcement in the entirety of the whole world to be able to seriously focus on and hone in on even a fraction of these kinds of cases. So it only makes sense to try to have the public be as involved as they can on things that would take you probably a lot longer because you have not been to all of these locations, but you can hope that in a big enough group, at least someone else has or knows somebody who has. Here's another example where it simply asks, do you recognize this long sleeve top? And it is a long sleeve child's shirt with an image of a woman holding a bunny. And again, you may be asking yourself, how is this going to actually help a child at all just based off of a shirt? Well, number one, just keep in mind and remember that we should not be and are not seeing the full image. Law enforcement is. So what they are asking us for information for, we have to trust and believe that they only need that little bit of information for a reason. There's no reason that we need to see more of the background or more X, Y, and Z. And people really are able to use these little clues, these little hints to be able to get a step further and hopefully provide these agencies with better information to be able to hone more in on the people that they need to hone in in on. For instance, under the comments in this post, somebody says, I haven't found the long sleeve top nor the store that is selling it, but I found the original photo used in this design. It uses the photo of a girl holding a rabbit that's being sold in Shutterstock. Photo number, I'm not going to say the number, but then there is the link. Somebody else responded to this and said, this is the Instagram account and website of the original photographer. He's Russian. I bet he knows who brought this image rights to put it on a shirt, and then they give links to that as well. Like, I just think about the amount of people I see online who will make content surrounding there was this one person I'd seen a while ago who made content surrounding oh, if you comment and you want me to try to find where you live, I guarantee you I can find where you live, even if all of your accounts are completely private. And 9 times out of 10, they would get it right. Obviously, they wouldn't dox the person online, but they would make the content and be like, this is the process of how I found out where you lived. And they were right a lot of the time. And it's okay, we've got people doing that for fun. We have people doing that out of hate because they just don't like the creator. They just don't like that person. We could be using all of that energy. If you have the skills to be able to do that, if you have the eye for it, you could be using all of that time and energy to actually do something productive for everyone in society and possibly help save a child. I'm going to have this linked in the description, of course, but this is from bellingcat.com, Creating Impact, a year on Stop Child Trace an Object. And I highly encourage you guys to go through and read this because they give a couple case studies on, images that were posted to trace an object and how they were actually able to pinpoint the exact location and find the actual location of where these horrific images and videos came from in the first place because of people contributing to trace an object because of their own personal experience or their own skills. So here is the picture that was posted to trace an object. I want you to really look at it for a second because looking at it, you're probably thinking what can anybody even actually do with this? But you have to remember what they're looking for is location, location, location. So you have to have a very keen eye on these things. The Burger King flyer, Mexico. We identified a motorbike and a rider on the flyer featured in image G19. In analyzing the flyer, we noticed several words written in Spanish or Portuguese. After translating and interpreting the broken message, we believed the flyer was likely advertising some sort of home delivery service, the payment methods available, and a telephone number. The word king led us to the food franchise Burger King, BK. Mexico had the largest number of BK restaurants in Latin America in 2013 and had 430 stores in 2019. Being one of the largest markets in the region, it was possible that some sort of delivery services could have been offered in the busiest cities. After checking different sources, a video on YouTube showed a BK advertisement for food delivery services in Mexico City. Checking the 2014 Google Street View for the Mazarik BK branch, it was determined that the telephone number advertised on the flyer was 1-454 King 5464. This number appeared for first time on BK's website in July 2013 and was used by approximately 46 shops in the state of Mexico, as well as Mexico City. Another version of the flyer was found on social media, but linked to a BK branch in the state of, I'm so sorry, I'm going to butcher this. I really did just sit here and try my best to pronounce it. I'm really sorry. Michoacan in November 2013. Although the telephone number is different, this flyer largely matches Europol's image G16. See figure 4. The image of the rider on the bike was also used for a previous BK campaign designed by a company called Ideotonica. Although the telephone number 1-454 King continued to be displayed by some of the restaurants until at least 2019, most started displaying new numbers for the delivery services as the stores were upgraded between 2014 and 2015. See the example shown in Figure 5 for an illustration of the changing advertisements and phone numbers for BK delivery. Thus, it is very likely the flyer was produced between 2013 and 2015. And they go over other case studies as well, such as being able to locate an exact baseball stadium, as well as like a random building in Russia, simply because of online users taking this seriously, treating it like it's their career to make sure that they do anything that they can in their power to bring these agencies one step closer to rescuing children. I know I've been really harsh and critical of our justice system and law enforcement agencies here in the United States of America, but I will give back a couple flowers. We kind of have something similar to Trace an Object, and Trace an Object also does work with, like American issues too, and the FBI, as well as like Australia. They just kind of care about everybody. They don't care where the kid's from or where the crime happened. They just want to put an end to it. And I think that is lovely. We also have something similar through the FBI. It's called the ECAP, which is the Endangered Child Alert Program. Sorry, I was getting tripped up on my words there, but it's kind of similar. I'll have it up here on the screen. They do something very similar on this website where they will post pictures and even videos and audio recordings of people that they are suspecting or like know and they're looking for, to try to figure out if anybody knows these people or knows where this content was taken, etc., etc. So very similar to Trace an Object, except for the fact that unlike Trace an Object, there's like no real direct communication. It's like you can submit a tip and then hope that they reach out to you to see if you have more information. Whereas on Trace an Object, it's very much so community based. So like you could say, like I know one, I'll try to put it up here. They were trying to figure out what a tattoo was, and people were like putting their brains together to try to figure out what it was. And it's like, that is just something that you can't do through ECAP. And so it's like, although yes, they are asking for the public's help, it's like very limited. Like we, you know what I mean? Like there has to be that collaboration. You know what I mean? Otherwise that leaves the law enforcement agencies once again just flooded with all of these tips that they themselves have to try to work out. Whereas when it comes to something like Trace an Object, what you can see in a lot of these comment sections where they're trying to identify things, it's not, I'm right, you're wrong, I'm right, you're wrong. It's like, I think this might be it. And then someone comes in and is like, I think you might be onto something, but what if we looked at it from this angle? That's going to get us a lot further than me looking through these pictures on the FBI and being like, I think I might know what that is. Let me just either not say anything at all, because like, what if I'm right? What if I'm right, but I'm not confident in myself, so I say nothing? Or everybody says something and tries to give their ideas, and now they're overwhelmed and don't know what to do with all of these tips, right? And what if they overlook the one that they really need? So to wrap all of this up, I really needed to see that. I really needed to see that from an actual law enforcement agency, not just like, a normal citizen who's angry about children not being protected. Because, I personally feel like our justice system in the United States says that we really want to protect children. They say that children deserve protecting, but I never see any action. I never see any action at all. So it's so incredibly refreshing for me to see that a law enforcement agency cares so much that they've made a YouTube video explaining why it's important and how this works. They've also made an entire Reddit where it is very much so monitored and stuff. Like you can't just be going crazy over there. You actually have to be helping. And it's being successful. Like that is so incredibly refreshing to see that they're begging the public for help instead of the public begging them to do anything at all. And that's where I feel like we are half the time here in the United States. Like you could literally present evidence to law enforcement and they'll say, it's not enough evidence, or is this really evidence? Is it not? And it gets so incredibly frustrating. So I really, really hope that if you are part of the justice system here in the United States of America, if you're part of law enforcement, I really hope that this video can inspire you to say something at work. Say something like, hey, I saw this YouTube video about Trace an Object, so I went on Trace an Object, and like I think that this actually could really help us if you care about kids as much as you say you do. And my God, if you're protecting and serving, I hope that children would be at like the very top of that list. So I really hope that this video does inspire law enforcement agencies to at least consider this. I hope it inspires law enforcement agencies to remember this video the next time you're really concerned about that shoplifter and you feel so angry and so like motivated by getting justice that you have to take time out of your day to post that on social media and beg the public for help in identifying this person, and then going through all of the tips on this random person who stole some groceries or electronics or whatever. And I'm not saying that stealing is right, by the way, but I'm just showing the difference between how much urgency they put into things. Okay? Because we're spending all of this time and anger on a shoplifter. Why not focus on protecting children and getting the public involved in protecting children? And guess what? You can still post your shoplifter post. But like, if you guys only have like the energy to make a couple posts a month, I don't want to see how many speeding tickets you gave out. I don't want to see how many bread loaf stealers you've put in jail. I don't want to see how many homeless people that you have criminalized for simply being homeless in really bad situations. I don't care. I want to see you actually serving and protecting the vulnerable in the community. That's what we want to see. And I'm not saying that spitefully. I mean, I am a little bit, just because like, why do we even have to say this? Like, why do I have to like beg, please do something, please care? No, but seriously, I really, really hope that this changes your mind a little bit and opens up your mind. It's like, you know what? Hey, if we're going to be making 2 shoplifting videos or shoplifter videos or freaking pictures, posts, whatever a month, then could we at least try to like do 3 posts where we talk about how we protected children? Like, police constantly are complaining about how the public doesn't trust them, and they're always blaming it on the public as if that's our problem, that you are consistently showing us that you prioritize and criminalize some of like the most petty things compared to things that should be taken the most seriously, things that should be taking up the majority of your time. And again, that is not me saying that doing X, Y, and Z is okay. I'm not saying that, not at all. I'm not saying that breaking the law is okay at all, but what I am saying is it's incredibly frustrating. And to me, it only leads me to having to make a ton of assumptions when I see police officers focusing so heavily on anything other than protecting the children in their community. And if you are not part of law enforcement, I hope that this video encouraged and inspired you to, go on the FBI's ECAP and see if you recognize anything. Submit a tip if you do. I hope that it encourages you to go on Trace an Object and go through a lot of those posts and see, because like my audience, you guys are all over the world. You guys are everywhere. You don't know if you might be able to recognize something that could lead to a child being saved. And some of these posts are like toys. Like it'll be like all cropped out, like all white everywhere. And then it's just like a toy. And it's like, you would have to, it's like, if you know, you know. And a lot of people might not know. You might be the one who does know. And maybe you're wrong, but it's at least better to try, to collaborate, to see if you can get to the right spot. If we all can together, one step closer to saving a child, one step closer to justice when we all work together. And I hope that law enforcement agencies can start to see the value in community. But that's all I have for you guys today. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe. I'm really interested to know your guys' thoughts down below in the comments. I personally really enjoyed making this video because it finally feels like I'm giving you guys something that we can do more than when I'm just like, here's a link to NCMEC to make a report, and also maybe go yell at your local law enforcement for like not doing enough. I don't know. I hope you guys know I'm literally just joking about like yelling at your local police. Okay, don't do that, but definitely continue to push them. Continue to say, hey, poke, this is serious. Please take this seriously. But yeah, I feel like this was a lot more something that we can do other than just putting all of our faith and hope in a justice system that has continuously let us down. I hope that other law enforcement agencies are inspired to maybe start adopting practices like this because they care about all of the kids in their community, right? Right? But yeah, for real, that's all I have for you guys today. Thank you guys so much for watching and sticking around, and I will see you guys in the next one.